So last week I told you guys that I was going to show you the folder where I had kept all of my wedding plans, and somehow I failed to do that. So for this episode 2 of our wedding series, I'm going to go ahead and do that. From last week it looks completely different now. So I'm going to show you guys. Now it has a title, and I don't know if it'll focus, but it has tabs now. Yes, people, it has tabs now. I'm going to be going through this one by one and show you guys, and then we're also going to be talking about what we have done since the last video and an estimation of how much the wedding is going to cost and what our budget is. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look inside. Some of these have a cover page for privacy reasons, but I am going to show you each section in here. The reason why I chose a folder is because I have a ton of these. I just got them from Office Depot, and I know that I'm not going to be keeping most of this stuff. Like, I'll probably keep the receipts or maybe some information, but I don't feel like it's necessary to keep a lot of this stuff after the wedding. If I need to reference some of them again, I could just, I guess, email them. If my friends do want recommendations to some of the vendors or the venue that we've used, it might not be the same quote as they have given us. And I have a lot of it stored on my computer anyways. So like the physical copy of this is just for me to be more organized, and I like things on paper. It just helps me organize better. On the right side is a lot of where the tabs are and all of the chunkiness of it, and then the left side is more of like something I need to reference to, like the checklist and the cost breakdown. So every time we get a new quote or every time we spend something for the wedding, it's gonna go on this paper. And then yeah, so let's get started. You guys have probably already seen this one from the last video, but this is my wedding timeline checklist. If you look in the back, it goes all the way up leading to the wedding day. And some of this stuff, like during the wedding day, basically telling you to relax and get married and enjoy the day. Some of the stuff that it had, I don't really need to do, so I just tweaked it a little bit so it fit better to our type of wedding. And then I have a vendor checklist here as well. And what I have here is basically just like the catering, the florist, the cake or the baker, DJ, music, photographer or videographer if we were gonna get one, hair and makeup stylist. As you can see, I didn't really have enough space, so I just kind of wrote it down here. But it makes sense to me, and basically like I have like the company and the price, so I can compare them and pick the best one. That's what I have as far as checklist, and that goes on tab number 1. And then I have the wedding venue questions just behind there. After you pick the venue, I don't think you have to reference the wedding venue questions anymore. I know for sure I didn't after we picked the venue. And then number 2 is the wedding cost breakdown. So I have the list of the companies here, and then deposits that they may have required, payment installments. Like for the venue, we opted for doing like a 4 payment installments, so every 2 months we would give them 25% of the cost and then the total cost overall. That way we can keep track of how much we're spending for the wedding. And then behind here is just my vision board as to what I show the vendors. So the baker for the cake, she asked like what kind of cake that I wanted, and I picked one off of Pinterest. And then the florist also asked what kind of flowers I want or what kind of bouquets I want for me and my bridesmaids, what kind of boutonnieres I was thinking of. All of that is on my vision board. That's tab number 2 here. And this is all just gonna stay on the left side of the page so I can quickly reference them. So then for this hunk right here, oh my gosh, I have like so much. So the first one I have here is the venue information. because there's a lot more to the venue than just the place itself, because we do have catering through them. The DJ that we picked and that they recommended does like 90% of their weddings, so I kind of just associated him with the venue info, but I do have a separate tab for the DJ and the music, just so his contract is different from the contract on here. So what this has is the venue checklist that I first made, and this one kind of just goes over pretty much everything and anything that we were looking for venue-wise. So the venue names would go here, and then we were thinking if they did the setup, their ceremony fee, their reception fee, the price for 50 guests, the price for 75 guests, because it varies. If taxes and gratuity came with it, the bartending fee, the corkage fee, there's a cake cutting fee. Most venues have like a cake cutting fee, especially if you're using their servers. And then hotel room blocks if they are associated with any hotels, and then catering, alcohol, tables or chairs, linens, tableware. I've just put cake because I did see that some venues come with a baker, so they kind of give you like an incentive to use their baker instead of using someone else. But some venues also have a list of exclusive people that they have worked with, so it's easier for them to, I guess, work with that same vendor. If you don't want to just go hunt for those people, some venues will have like an exclusive list of people that they can recommend you. If it comes with a decorator like our venue does, is it ADA accessible? Because one of Brian's aunts is in a wheelchair, so we need to make sure that the venue is ADA accessible. The deposits, the total, and then any exclusions that they don't have, so I can work on getting that vendor. Also, I wanted to mention, if my voice is a little quiet, I guess, my family is watching a movie in the other room, and I don't want to be too loud for them. That, and I literally lost my voice 2 days ago, and I'm just getting it back. So hopefully I'm not too loud. I am kind of close to the mic, but hopefully I'm not too quiet either. Please excuse if the audio to this video is not as well as my other ones. Other than that, I have the official contract here for the venue that we signed. That way they're good to go. They are the venue that we are picking. And I also have the other venue that I mentioned in my first video. I have their pricing on here just so I can compare them again if I need to. You know, in theory, I could just recycle this because I don't really need their information anymore. So that's that for the venues tab. And the next one I have is the cake or the florist. I just put them together because it's super thin. I don't really need a whole lot, so I just thought I'd put them together. Somehow in my mind they kind of go together anyways. So I have the two different florists that I inquired as far as pricing, and I really only picked one baker to do our cakes. And then I just have the infos here. I have just the pictures of sort of like what I want as far as the cake and the flowers, bridal bouquets, and the boutonnieres that I would want. And then I have their contracts here too. Oh, I guess I put the photographers here too. This tab is a lie. But I have like the photographers list over here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I contacted 7 photographers and just compared their prices and end up picking the photographer that we have. And then I printed out some stuff for like the dessert tables, other bakers that might have, you know, dessert bar, because we're planning to have a dessert bar as well. So that's that for the cake florist and I guess photographers as well. And then the next one is the DJ or the music for the wedding. This is just his contract. Some information that he needed, like my mom's name, which is the mother of the bride, and then Brian's mom's name, my dad, his dad, our bridesmaids' names, our groomsmen, just information that we need to fill out for him so he knows who is who. And then I have all of our receipts in this tab over here, and not all of it is printed. Some of them I had to put an envelope like so. So that's all the receipts. That way I can keep track of how much we are spending. And then hotels and accommodations tab. Now I did contact 3 different hotels to see how much their wedding blocks are. All 3 of them said that their minimum was 10 rooms. Now, Airbnb has becoming more and more popular, so we ended up not needing to do wedding room blocks. And what room blocks are, basically they're discounted rooms basically to reserve for your guests, but you have to have a minimum of 10 rooms. The sales rep can go over that more in depth if you do call the hotels. Yeah, like I said, we didn't end up needing all 10 rooms because we weren't going to be able to meet the minimum requirement. And also, if we don't meet the minimum requirement, we are responsible to pay for the other rooms that we reserved and are not going to be booked. So to save us that consequence, I guess, we just didn't end up needing one. But I have one for it, just in case more and more guests, as the time comes, will say, okay, hey, we are planning to do hotels instead of Airbnb. Do you have any hotel blocks? And if we do get the minimum of 10, then we can contact the ones that we know and reserve those room blocks for them. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have for my folder here. I made it as simple as possible, and also I really wanted to use these like tabs that I've had for months. I was planning to use this on my planner and somehow just never got to it. I'm glad that I finally found a use for them, because I know it's fun to create these kinds of things. I like it a lot. So that's that for our wedding planning folder. As far as what else we've done for the wedding since the last video, Brian went to go get his suit fitted and ended up getting the suit right then and there. It should be ready this week, so we have to go pick that up. Oh, I also got the save the dates and we went ahead and sent those out. Next is the invitations, but those won't be sent out until December. I think that's all we have for this month. Nothing is really going on as far as wedding planning until next month. For the wedding cost, so initially the wedding budget that I set out was $8,000. I know I definitely didn't want a wedding that was going to exceed $10,000, because just saying that number alone is like, oh, $10,000. Actually, average weddings cost between $15,000 to $30,000. A lot of money, but I know that some weddings have cost under $10,000, so I did my research on that and I wanted to stick to the budget as much as possible, but I was open to doing it up to $10,000. That way I have like a wiggle room if we did decide to splurge on one thing more than the other. So the venue was about $5,200. The photographer was around $2,200, and let's see, so Brian's suit was about $640. My dress, we still don't know yet, but it was about $200, and I do have to get it redone. And then also Brian's mom's dress that she had given me, I still have to meet with the seamstress to see what we can do with both wedding dresses, because I have a specific thing that I want. I don't know how much alterations are gonna cost, so that's still kind of up in the air. Oh, both our wedding bands totaled up to about $680. I do have quotes from the florist and the baker on how much they're gonna be, but I don't want to throw in numbers there yet until we finalize the contract and make sure that that is how much they cost. That way we are true to the budget. From what I've calculated so far, I think we are at just above 8,000. So I'm trying to keep it at least 9,000 and under, but like I said, I gave us that 10,000 range. Oh, and I do want to add that Brian's parents are helping us a little bit on the wedding costs. And it's very interesting to see why wedding costs cost the way they do. Catering alone was like between $32 to $40 a person, and that's how much like a 10-ounce steak would be at a fancy restaurant. And I was talking to my friend about this the other day, and it was like $32 to $40 a person, and all you're doing is basically picking out which kind of chicken is cooked different ways. And I'm not trying to like demean or diminish the hard work that venues go through to, you know, cater to weddings and all that stuff. Prices are made for a reason, and but I guess just someone like us who just want like a simple wedding, it just seemed like a lot of money to us. But we understand, you know, it comes with a cost, which is why we are lucky enough to also live in a state that not everything is so overpriced or expensive. But we still wanted to be really conscious about how and where we're spending the money and how much we are spending the money. When I did buy my bridesmaid proposals though, I wouldn't say I splurged on it a little bit. That was actually the average that some wedding websites were saying that you could spend on. You could get your bridesmaid like a $30 of something, but then if you have 10 bridesmaids, that can rack up into a hefty little price. So this is going to be kind of like a short video, kind of just updating you guys on the boring details of wedding costs. Definitely my big advice if you want like a low cost or low budget wedding is to do your research on what the average cost is for certain things, because that way, say you go to a florist and they quote you a bouquet that's like $500. That's a little bit too much, I guess, depending on how extravagant you want your bouquet to be. I just wanted a simple hand-tied one with like white flowers and some greenery and so. Oh no, baby. Okay, so let me wrap up this video. I gotta tend to my baby boy. Thank you for joining me in today's video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.